Welcome to the StockMiner.com studios here in the beautiful Black Hills of South Dakota. I'm your StockMiner, Brian Johnson. A beautiful day here in the hills to be outside doing something, so we can see spring coming. However, the markets aren't really doing much for us on the other side of the states. So you can see out there in New York, those people trading just aren't helping us out much. They're not doing much with the markets, and we still, as we have been, wander sideways. So here we are, the Dow on the 60-minute. It was, let me take a really quick look, get an update because the bell just rung. Just barely up for the day was the Dow. Most everything else was about break even, with the Nas once again showing relative weakness. It just cannot seem to shake those bear blues quite yet. It just seems to want to drag a little bit more than the other markets. The Dow, however, is doing very, very well up here, and yet still stuck between this overall trading range that we have been watching now for, what, 4 years, 5 years? Okay, it's not that long, but it sure seems like that. Ever since we entered it back here late March, you can see where we have been stuck. This makes for extremely boring trading. I would be looking for a move sometime this week. We have just been consolidating for a long time, so look for one of these areas to break, up here or down here, and then look for your entry, long or short, especially if you're been sitting around on your hands waiting for that perfect break. I think you're going to get an opportunity here in the next few days. The bears, to be quite honest with you, need to kind of make some moves here soon. If they're going to drag this thing down, they need to make a move. The longer the bulls keep it up here, the more disinterested it seems the bears get in wanting to drag the thing down, which means the bulls are going to have free reign if it takes too much longer for the bears to get going. You can see over the past few days, not let alone weeks, but for the past few days, this is what we've been doing. Nothing but a little bit of a pullback. We've broken this high back here, right up into this area, tried, cannot seem to get over the hump. So here we are in this little move here. All this is right now, guys, is just a bull pullback. Until we break these lower levels, this is just a bull pullback. We have to look at it and give the bias to the bulls at this point with the information given to me in the charts themselves. NASDAQ 60-minute here, pulling back as well, falling right into a perfect support line. 200. And you can see it resting there for a couple of candles, not being able to move anywhere. But once again, very, very slow, consistent pullback here right into support. NASDAQ still, like I said, a little bit weaker than the rest of them. Did see a move down this last, or today. Here you can see it breaking the 50 kind of on Friday. I'll give that kind of a neutral feel, but this one today definitely a breakdown from the 50-day moving average, and now holding below the 50-day moving average, not showing any strength. Overall, though, take a look at this big move here. It is just a very large pullback. Pullback nonetheless, but right now just a very large pullback. It's keeping in a very, very uniform manner, still allowing time for the markets to digest where to go with everything next. For those of you that haven't been watching, I did a subscribers video this week and did not get a daily video done on Sunday, so that might be a little bit more of a frequent occurrence. If you like those Sunday updates and being told kind of what to look for, where we are right now and what to look for coming on into Monday morning's trading, along with some individual stocks to be watching, that is the publication for you. You can sign up for it on the right side of the screen there. However, I was just told today some people can't always see that. If you have something called ad block or ad blocker on your, it's usually Firefox that does this, on your web browser, that is something you'll have to disable in order to see the ad. And if you don't have a PayPal account, it's not a big deal. Write me, call me, whatever, and we'll set up another arrangement. We can make that work. Okay, so anyway, this is just a pullback on the NASDAQ, dragging its feet as it slowly moves its way backwards, waiting for something more vicious to happen. You can see here, even from a weekly. Now, granted, it's 1 week, and we've just started this candle here. All this is, right now at this second, a bull pullback, maybe a high base type of formation. really hard to gauge this until we see the end of the week, so we won't talk a lot about the weeklies until that happens. SPX doing the same thing, same type of pullback, not below 1320, not below 1340. We're stuck in this range. It's expanded a little bit here, as you can see us breaking that 1325-ish mark, but really 1320, 1340 are still your larger areas to be watching going forward. Here you can see this pullback happening, same type of way, same type of drag. Not breaking the highs, though. We never did make that 1345-ish level, which is what we saw from the Dow. Another one I follow in the subscribers list is the Russells. If you're a TNA, TZA type of player, that would have been very beneficial for you. We caught a beautiful move up and above their highs on the TNA. Or on the Russells, I mean, when it broke up above its highs, and it ran for quite a while. So it's been strong as well, along with the Dow. And here we see the S&P, the Nasdaq not following suit. So what are you going to get? You're going to get a lot of pundits saying non-confirmation, non-confirmation, non-confirmation. You know what? I don't care about that kind of stuff. Don't get wrapped up in that. Don't let your bias run away with you. When it comes to that kind of information. If you go back in time and look at all the times these, especially over the past few months, that they've said, well, look at the non-confirmation, look at the they've all been wrong. All the other markets have resolved upwards. So there's a first time for everything, but based on history and based on what we've seen lately, I have to stick with the paradigm, and that is right now that even though these haven't made new highs yet, I have to give the bulls the advantage here and think that they will eventually make those highs. Might take them a little bit more work, but that they will make those highs. So pulling back here, watching these lower levels, you can see this is a very, very nice, well drawn out, slow pullback by the bulls. They're keeping it very, very controlled here. So I still have to give that bias, as I said, to the bulls in the shorter term. No confirmation day from the VIX. It was down as well. Gold was down as well. Oil was down as well. At the end of this video, I'll show you the calls I made to my subscribers on gold and oil and where we've been in and how we've been playing it since the time we took that break. But the VIX not giving us any confirmation. Oil's down. Gold's down. And the VIX was down. Markets were down. Everything just down. Point being here, though, with the VIX being down and the markets being down, there's just no fear coming into the markets. Typically on a move to the downside, you see the VIX kind of pop to the upside as a little bit of hesitancy in that whole gasping of the breath. Is this it? But certainly not evident by the plays we saw today. So really no concern there quite yet at all from the markets themselves. Weekly, too, hanging on to this blue line. You do want to see that if you're bullish on the VIX and or bearish on the markets. You do want to see this blue line hold. It has been doing a fantastic job and working extremely well as support right now. Will it, can it launch from here? That's the $64,000 question. We don't know yet. We don't know yet. Apple 60-minute was down again today, falling where? Right back into this perfect lower support area. So here it is, sitting at 330 and wandering its way sideways. This has not fared well at all the past few weeks. You can see the lines drawn in here. One little thin line drawn down here. We can't break it. We can't seem to get above it. Apple's really struggling right now. From a daily perspective, too, still showing a lot of weakness, and this trend looks to be strong. Be very careful if you're long Apple. There's just no reason to really be long Apple at this point. Your lower levels now are 325, 326-ish, and 325 to 326 are definitely areas of lower support you need to be watching coming into the next few days, and that is another $4 or $5 away. So if Apple doesn't show any strength in the next few days, I would just expect it to maybe keep and continue with this trend to the downside. It stayed very, very well inside the trend lines we have here. So any breaks below this 326, it's this blue line, which is right about 325 right now, to the downside on Apple. From a weekly too, you can see it continuing to kind of dribble out here, and any further pushes back below 326, 325 do not do well. That does not bode well at all for Apple. Lower levels, 310 and 320 on Apple. So it's got room to move, guys. Now, nothing broken from the... Let me just say that there's nothing necessarily broken from the bull side up here. We've had a heck of a run from 235 all the way up. Okay? So a pullback is definitely due. But a pullback in Apple isn't like it is in other stocks. It's not a 40-cent pullback. Apple's like a $40 pullback. That's huge. So you want to really, really watch yourself if you're an Apple player. FAS, FAZ, both moving sideways today, along with the markets as we see no further move from where we left basically Friday. Staying sideways, no resolve down, no resolve up. An attempted push to the upside, but the financials just cannot seem to get going here. FAZ, same type of thing. No pushes up or down here. I would say on FAZ, I kind of like this chart a little bit cleaner than what the other one is. If you wanted to try along on this one, above 40 is probably your opportunity. You want to be very careful with the trade. That's a very speculative trade. I'll be straight up with you guys on that. So you'll want to keep a tight stop on it, make sure it sticks. But then 40, 50-ish or so, that would be your overhead area. It's a good 50-cent trade at this point, and that's all we've been able to kind of pull in the financials lately. They just haven't given us lots of large moves. Here we are back above this line, this downsloping line we've been watching for quite a while. I like the fact that it's sticking there. It's got to hold. So back above that, 40-ish mark or so, as I said, that would maybe be an opportunity there. Still a lot of overhead resistance you're going to have to contend with. So I'd be very careful on any trades right now until we're back up above about 42 on FAZ. To the downside, anything below 37 is not good at all for FAZ. All right, that'll do it for today's video. Here's what we did last week on the subscribers. We had trades on BIG. And this was a trade to the upside, and almost all of the trades on the individual stocks gave us a fantastic one-day break and then kind of dribbled out the rest of the week. So you're going to see that resulted here. Obviously, entries were given, stops were given, exits were given, first targets were given, all that stuff to the subscriber side. So if that's something that'll benefit you, definitely worth your time to check it out and give it a whirl. DWSN. Here was another one that had a beautiful break to the upside, right above this level here. Got in, and then you can see the slow dribble out as it wandered its way backwards again. When the markets move sideways like this, it's very hard for any stock to really get going. In either direction. It's very hard to find its footing and keep going. We had a beautiful break right here, and then it just kind of dribbled out the rest of the week. Merck was one. I had them take profits at the end of the week because it just wasn't going anywhere. We saw this break back above 14.25, which was a beautiful move to the upside, good for $1 up into this area. Then I told them to at least take profits at the end of the week, and that was about 14. I think it was 57. I think is about where it was at the end of previous close, 14.62. So there you have it. 14.62 was the close on Friday. I told them to make sure they got their profits then. Just didn't like what we had been seeing because it had been standard all week long. Stocks would break up and then fall apart all week long. SYK was another one. This was a short that we took below the $60 mark. You can see it today finishing at $60. Last week we got as low as $59.40. We'll see if it'll hold here and what kind of move the markets make, but just so you guys know going forward, this might not be a bad one to watch as well to the short side. We'll see. I don't know if it's going to hold down here. Nothing held last week. Everything moved sideways. The two best trades, oil and gold, which we had been watching for quite a while, and I'll show you those right here. And what you're going to hear is the actual audio from the subscribers newsletter on what I told my subscribers, so that you kind of get a feel for what the newsletter's like and how it works. Okay, so here it is. Gold wandering sideways. No real change here, guys. The point is, below here and above here, nothing's changed. I wouldn't make a move on gold until if it gets above 1440, yes, I'd go long again. You betcha, I wouldn't have a problem with that. Oil as well in a sideways choppy trading range. Looking for pushes up and over 107 and below, well, 100 ultimately for me. So if you guys were in that trade above 100 last week, did good. $4 or $5 if you got out at the end of the week. If you're still in it, I just run it up. Just keep your stops in place and let this thing run for a little while and see what'll happen. Okay, so if that kind of information is of use to you guys and you're trading, try out the newsletter. Well worth it. Talk to me about the mentoring if you're interested in really doing this full time and making this kind of a full time job. You're gonna need it. It's very, very difficult. I don't want to say it's impossible, but it's very close to impossible to do it without having some sort of formal training, some mentoring with people, with someone that has been doing it for a while and can really walk you through it and can really help you with it. Look into my mentoring course. I'll tell you, I've looked at all the other mentoring courses and had people from other mentoring courses come to me, and I'm very confident that mine is definitely one of the best the web has to offer right now. Talk to me about that. And check out the newsletter, and we'll see you again probably tomorrow. See you then. Bye.